Welcome to the Dr. Inia Desnia podcast. I have various U.S. and international accounting and tax designations, a master's in tax, and a PhD in business administration with a concentration in finance and accounting. Over the past 2 decades, I have helped several SMEs succeed. This podcast will provide strategies and resources to help startups and existing businesses thrive. Let's get started. Today, I'm going to talk about how to retain staff. Now, staff turnover is expensive. When staff leave, they just come in and leave, quickly, and, before you even turn around, they've left. That's a problem. Because when we talk about staff turnover, there's so many costs attached, right? Now, that is included in that. Remember, what about if you want to bring in a new staff, right? You have to talk about the cost of training, right? The cost of training, the downtime when that staff is not doing anything, not producing, there's no output. So that cost, the cost is everything plus, look searching all that time, expensive. So why shouldn't you have good staff from the beginning? So I would say there are some pointers in making sure that you retain good staff. First and foremost, some people just hire based on qualification. This person is qualified because of, when I say qualification, I'm talking about educational qualification, even experience. Yes, that's all. That's why I'm hiring that person. But really, you should look at more than that. First of all, what about your core values? What does your company believe in? You might, small businesses take that for granted. But no, your company should stand for something. Now, if somebody is applying for a job, and the person realizes that the core values are different, definitely that person will not even apply. Will say, these are the core values. This is not for me. So first of all, make sure that your core values are there, plain to everyone to see, plain out there. All right. So very first thing you must do. Then also, what about if that person is not a team player? What about if the person is all about him or herself? Right? It's very important for the person to be a team player. So many people take this for granted, and they take it for granted, and just bring the person in. No. Make sure the person is a team player. Make sure the person can handle crisis. Well, it depends on the kind of job you have, or business you have. Because in my profession, I'm an accountant. And when as a CPA, sometimes we get situations that we have that we have to handle immediately, that we're always under deadline, stress, pressure. I mean, not stress, because, we've learned to make sure we really do our best when it comes to that, because we're ready for deadlines. We know we have how to meet crisis, make sure we know how to handle crisis, because at the end of the day, we have to meet that deadline. So you have to make sure you're asking these questions. Right? Asking these questions. Now, you might say, oh, this is a lot. I mean, of course, there are so many human resources agencies that you can actually ask, and for them to even interview for you, right? I mean, you'll be there to make sure the person is really the person you want to be on your team, right? What about the pay structure? Now, stop cutting corners when it comes to paying somebody, right? When you talk about how much you want to pay somebody, make sure that it's really, don't cut corners. I mean, some companies really can afford, and then I see sometimes the person that, they can afford it, but you're trying, the person that you're interviewing, trying to cut corners, but your company can't afford it. And even if I'm not talking about maybe paying outrageously, you just make sure that you're paying, making this payment, the salary should be fair. All right. Here and there, give the person a bonus. Here and there. All right. Think of things like that. And now another thing is that even before you hire somebody, Really make sure you do a background check on that person. Make sure. I mean, I know someone that after hiring the person, then that's when she did a background check on this staff. Unfortunately, this person stole from a former employer. That's why she lost her job. I don't know why she did a background check after hiring this person, right? Make sure full background check. Check who this person is. Don't take it for granted that, oh, we are a small company. This is my small business. This is a mid-size. No, we're not big enough. No, pay for that background check. Make sure we are paying for that, right? Another point is responsibility. Let the person know what he or she is, what you expect from that person. So many people they're not happy when, okay, this person not performing, but have you really told the person, this is what I expect from you? Is this what, this is exactly what I expect from the person, right? And also positive feedback. People, so many companies only dwell on negative feedback. Oh, you didn't do this. What about saying, oh, great job. Great job. And even if it's a negative feedback, don't call the staff in a room full of other people and make the person feel, bad, correct the person, make the person feel unhappy. There's a way you can correct somebody, right? But no, making the person feel bad, remember, you're talking about retaining staff. You cannot thrive if you don't retain good staff, right? Retaining good staff. All right. Make sure that, you are always going back and, really getting, making sure your staff, they're happy, right? Little things here and there, company celebrations, team building things. You guys go out for team building, making sure that your staff, they're happy. Who wouldn't be, who doesn't like appreciation? Who doesn't want to be appreciated? Who wants, want to be appreciated? So just make sure that your clients or your staff is appreciated. Make sure, because we talked about, first of all, you have to hire the right staff. First, because you don't want to hire somebody that you can't work with. And then you have to because letting the person go, it's also a cost to you. Cost. You don't want to be going back and forth. Oh, who do I have? I want to change my staff. Hire the right person from the beginning, and then do things make sure that person is comfortable staying in your company. Right. And now, we're going to talk about relating in the office. Like we talked about briefly, somebody asked a question not too long ago about staff handbook. Today, we have the specialist, a district manager from ADP that's going to speak to us about things happening in the office when it comes to, how to relate. Because I would say have a good relationship in the office, but really, what does that mean, right? We're going to find out, and find out what that really, really means. Why should we have a staff handbook to explain how the staff should relate? But generally, because people have left offices because of how staff relates, right? So we want to make sure that we understand that. But the goal is, hire from the beginning, do your due diligence, make sure that, you know who you're bringing into your company, and also do things to make the person stay. Right? Do things that we talked about, a couple of them, about appreciation, right? Appreciate, not only, I'm not talking about, 5 years appreciation, 2 years. No. I'm talking about doing things to make the person feel appreciated as many times as possible. All right. Who wouldn't like that? And of course, you know what? Guidelines, tell the person exactly what you expect from them. Exactly, make sure that you're telling the person exactly what you expect from them, because a lot of times it's always about performance evaluation. Oh, this person, room for improvement. There's nothing wrong with performance evaluation. There's nothing wrong with that, but when it's all about, just, results, some concrete if the person is not performing, making the person feel bad, writing things like that, no, it's not only about that, right? It's also about making sure that person is able to produce as much as possible, have a great output. Because if somebody feels good about him or herself, of course, the person will have a great output in that office. Great output, right? Great output. There's so many research, right, done on this in these areas. And then, you can also follow up and also read that up and see these kind of, ways to also make sure that, your staff, you hire great staff and you retain great staff. We just want to make sure that I too love it when small businesses or mid-sized businesses or all businesses, they succeed. You want to thrive. You don't want to just survive. So you want to really, really thrive. And you're not going to thrive if you're going back and forth with staff turnover, right? So that's not going to be you. All right. So let me bring. All right. So as I said, we are actually it's great that we actually have someone here. She's a district manager in ADP. She's going to actually elaborate on staff handbooks and just explain to, because one of the things I said is about the relations in the office. But before we bring her in to speak, we're going to go to the segment 2 where I would ask a question. Then we will bring her in to speak. She's already here. So let me just go to one of our questions before we bring her in to speak, and she will talk about herself a little bit, and then we'll bring her in to speak. I think I had this question right here. Let's see.
Hello, Dr. Inyi. This is Hadassah Black. Do I have to register my company with the state? Thank you.
All right. Awesome. That was a question from someone that is asking if the person has to register the company with the state. And I would say that I encourage you to please do that, because when you register the company with the state, you actually take up a structure, either an LLC, a C Corp, and an S Corp. And if you go back to, I think somebody asked a question about LLC, S Corp, or C Corp, and I explained to them that it protects. The goal is to protect yourself and your assets. So yes, you might say, oh, but there's a fee. The fee is worth it, because at the end of the day, if you lose everything you have because you didn't register a company, I'm not just saying registering as a DBA, which is doing business as, but really get it as an entity, right? It's so important because it protects your personal assets. If anything happens within the course of the business, usually, unless there's specific cases like, piercing the corporate veil, which I'm not going into that. That's when people are into fraud or things like, or make some decisions or things like that. But I'm not going into that. I just want to let you know that when you actually register the company, it actually protects you from your business, right? It removes you, the entity becomes somebody else. Yeah, even though you own the entity, somebody else, and you are somebody else. So you are yourself. You are yourself, but I mean that it separates both of you. So that's what I wanted you to know. All right. So thank you, Christiana. She's a manager. She's a manager with ADP, and she's very knowledgeable. And anybody listening here is very happy to have her. And so I just want to ask some questions on the staff handbook, because one thing we're talking about is retaining staff. And we said that it's very important for the staff to have good relationship with each other. So, but that good relationship is, quote. So we just want us to, my first question is it important for a small business or a mid-sized business to actually have a staff handbook? Because we heard it's only for large companies. I mean, people say that it's only for large companies. Is it good to have that? And let me ask you if it's good to have that. Go ahead.
Great question. Thank you for having me, Dr. Adesanya. It's a pleasure for me to join you today and to, talk about some important things that businesses may not think would impact, however, has a ton of potential to be a benefit for the business. So great question regarding the employee handbook. I actually get this a lot with the small businesses that I work with. I get this question a lot, and I'm actually going to start off with telling you a story first before I explain, what is an employee handbook and what are the benefits and the top 8 reasons why you should have one in place. So the story is one of my clients recently that I worked with, he actually reached out to me. They're currently using ADP for payroll, and they were aware that ADP had some HR resources. He reached out to me because he was having an employee claim going on, and he needed some legal resources, some HR support. He didn't have the money to hire on an HR certified person on staff, which is on average about $70,000 a year for their salary. And so he wanted to outsource something that was more cost efficient, but was going to be helpful for him in that situation. And so I helped him get connected onto our HR resources. And what was going on with his situation was his employee was filing a false claim against the company.
Wow.
And the employer had no way of proving that he was not liable. And actually the employee was fired because that employee broke one of their policies and one of their guidelines, but he didn't have any policies written in place. He didn't have an established way of communicating it with employees. And because of the lack of proof, he lost the court. He lost a case.
Oh, wow.
And so he was actually reaching out to me because he didn't want to lose any more cases, and he didn't want this to happen again. And he wished he was proactive about getting something like an employee handbook in place, because the cost and the time that it would take to get this implemented would be thousands and thousands much more cheap than what his court case cost him. Wow. And so I start with that story because we all want to think that, that would never happen to me. And, it may not ever happen to you, but your business, you've invested so much, and your business is worth a lot more than I don't think it's going to happen to me. I don't think I need to have something like that in place, to being proactive, to protecting yourself, protecting your business, and investing into those things that will help benefit you. So with the employee handbook, what it is it's a manual that gives your employees a detailed overview of your policies that are specific to your organization, along with other, key procedures, guidelines, and also employee benefits. Kind of in a nutshell, it sets clear expectations for your employees, which also stating your legal obligations and defining the employee rights. So depending on what state and what industry and how many employees you have, there are required policies that you have to communicate efficiently to your employees, based off of the Department of Labor or any of the state regulations. However, aside from the requirements, there are some of the benefits of having the employee handbook in place. It can protect your business against employee lawsuits and claims, such as wrongful termination, harassment, and discrimination. The handbook is also a crucial introduction to your business for all of your new hires. This is where they're going to see, what is the culture, what is the mission, what is the value of the company I'm about to invest my time into, and look to grow their career with. And it also, it just, helps them understand the missions and values. And so, that's kind of a high level overview of what the employee handbook is, the benefits of having it in place. And I'm just going to stop to ask Dr. Adesanya if you had any questions.
Yes, I do. I mean, this is awesome because, the topic today was how to retain staff. And we also talked about, I talked about the culture that people, first of all, let people know who you are. because if I see that I don't align with your belief system, I won't even apply to that company, right? So people don't, I mean, small businesses, they take it for granted that, oh, it's just my small business. No, and I really like what she said about really having it to be outsourced. And I'm not, I talked about how you have to make sure that background checks, things are like, even before you hire, and then some questions. And I know that, just like you said, hiring an HR staff, one thing about small businesses, they actually do not have the resources. They have limited resources. And so it has to really go far, stretch. Yes. And so I really love it when you said that, that is an outsourced function, and that they provide things like the legal aspect, what is supposed to be there. And what another thing she said was that it depends on the state. The state, huge, because state law for employees different across the board.
Exactly.
Honestly, I mean, I can tell you that, I mean, like, it's so different. I mean, I have worked, I mean, an example is California. You might just say you have somebody there, maybe the main office is somewhere, it doesn't matter. So many things. And I mean, beautiful that this is, that, ADP, I've known Christiana for some time, and I'm very happy that she's able to speak to everyone listening, and just to make sure that you don't take this for granted, right? I mean, I'm happy that she even started with a real live case, right? Because we will say, oh no, it's not going to happen to me, but it can happen. So make sure that everything is documented. Any question that, and then do you also offer, if you have like hiring, if you want like HR, if you like HR hiring services, like if you want to, somebody to come and sit in and speak to the new, an interviewee, is that something that you people do?
Yes. Oh, awesome. So great question. There are a couple of different options of how we can support small businesses.
Okay,
and as you know, you're very familiar, small businesses, it's more of a day-to-day basis versus the Fortune 500 companies, the bigger players.
Yes.
And so, like you said, outsourcing is more than ever, especially since after COVID.
Yes.
Being more efficient, catching up with the times, and not only on top of that, but all of the compliance and regulations and legislative changes was out the roof since the pandemic. And so small business owners, I feel like more than ever, has the most pressure on them to keep up with everything that's going on right now. And I think one of the biggest things that's I'm hearing across the board is in terms like quote unquote salary inflation, where all of their employees are coming in and asking for a higher raise because that's what they're seeing across the board. And people like Walmart and Amazon, they can afford to do that. But these small businesses, they are more, they're pinching pennies on along with everything else going on right now because of the salary inflation going on. And so being efficient with your process and how you operate is very important, especially right now. And so, when you're thinking about, honestly, it doesn't matter to me how you guys get these resources like an employee handbook or get HR resources. I just think it's important that you do get access to it if you don't already. And so having something to outsource is going to be a lot more cost efficient versus hiring an actual HR person on staff for you. It also, if you think about it, it's almost like a virtual HR person, which is now going to be part of the new normal work environment of this hybrid, remote and work from office culture that we're seeing across the board for all corporations.
Awesome. But I want to say something, because I know she's not advertising ADP. I know but I'm telling you, because it's very important for you to make sure you're not just outsourcing to anybody, right?
Yes.
That's what I want to tell you. You're not just outsourcing to anybody because someone says, "Oh, we do HR outsourcing jobs for businesses." You have to make sure that you're actually using someone that is very reputable. Companies are reputable. I'm very that's why I won't even bring anybody on this platform that I don't believe in. So I'm just, I don't want to, I mean, I've had specialists that have come, and I have to be comfortable with them before they're on this platform. It's very important that you check out who you're using.
Yes.
You know, you don't want to use an HR person that's actually going to put you in trouble because they didn't do their own homework, right? So very important. You know, I just wanted to stress here that yes, because people keep on saying, you know, oh, it's a small business, but you don't want to lose everything you've worked for just because of not knowing.
Exactly.
That's what I would say, just because not knowing, you know. And the great thing about outsourcing some of these things, you have people that have that knowledge base. She mentioned something about, and I think I mentioned this at the beginning of this podcast, and I said that from, I think February, March 2020 to about February, March 2021, 3 different legislatures, three. And then I'm not talking about 3 1 page, you know, different, like, you know, you have to go through things, and a lot of it affected HR. It impacted HR, right? HR salaries, how to, you know, employee tax credits and things like that. Things like that. So many things, right? And so you have to know, I mean, I know even as a CPA, I did some work for some of my clients, right? But you have to know really what is it that you are looking at? What are you really looking at when it comes to outsourcing? Making sure that you're using, first of all, outsource. I mean, if you can afford an HR person, kudos. But if you cannot, because also if an HR person is just someone that is just not also knowledgeable, you have a problem, right? Not just, because the person says, I'm hiring someone, because the person says the HR is not just interviewing somebody. Just wanted to let you know. An HR person's job is not just to interview somebody, right? If you look at HR in big corporations, they actually have different job, job descriptions, right? Even within the HR department. Am I right, Christiana? So,
correct.
Yes. But the goal here, everything legal HR, HR clarification is in one body, and very reliable body. So I'm really grateful. I know she's very busy to get her. It was really, but I'm very happy she was able to make it today. I don't know if you have anything else to say as we round up.
Yes, no, I do have just one more thing just to talk about with how we can help. So for all of the people listening to this podcast, with our HR services, we support literally every step from the hiring to the firing life cycle of an employee.
Wonderful.
And so not just the employee handbook or having an HR and legal support, but also like while they're working for you, what are you doing to retain that employee? Are you having these one-on-ones?
Yes.
What does your project management look like? Or performance management look like? What does that look like for your employees? When was the last time you had the conversation about giving them a raise? Exactly. And so those are some things to think about to get your gears going that, you know, probably won't ever come up until you're actually in a situation, just because of how many hats small business owners wear.
Yes.
And so we are excited to be a support for you all. We have options to cater to small businesses from 1 employee all the way up to Fortune 500 companies. And, you know, I just wanted to state the story that I started off with. That company was 1, a family-owned business, and 2, 5 employees. And so it was thousands that it caused that business, that cost that business owner. And for me, I would have never guessed a company like that would have ever came across that situation, because they're family and they all trust each other, and because they're so small. And so just be proactive. I want to encourage you to, there's ways you can work smarter, not harder, and protect yourself and the business of what you've invested in so much to this day.
Wow. I mean, I want to actually, family, you see, even a family business that's so close knit. So, I mean, that's really an eye opener. I mean, hopefully it's not going to happen within our family, but still look at when she's talking about this, it means that everybody has to be very careful, right? And, it's like, I'm just smiling now because it's like she listened. I know she wasn't there, but most of the things she said now, I said at the beginning of this podcast, I talked about how you have to make sure you're giving good feedback. You must make sure that you're looking at how much you're paying the person, I just mentioned some of these things and she just said it as if she was here with me. All right. So this is awesome. And of course, I mean, go to if you want to reach Christiana, please, just go to my website. My podcast website is dr.iniadesanya1word.com, and just go to the contact form and just fill out and just say you want to reach her, and I'll just connect you with her. She's awesome, and she's fantastic. This is very important. So if you don't have a staff handbook, please, and the thing is that why I'm saying that specifically her, I'm not saying the whole of ADP, there's something wrong with that, but because I have worked with her directly, and I just said because of her knowledge base, I'm comfortable with working with her. And that's why I said, if you guys want to work with her, fine, I'll just connect, you guys directly with her, and then also, have her contact there. Okay.
Yep.
So
thank
not
you,
a problem.
Dr. Adesanya.
Thank you, Christiana. Really nice. I should say thank you for your time. She's a manager of the district manager in ADP, and she's so busy. So so I know for her to, because what she said today is really, really, really important. I won't even expect a 5 member or 5 business that has 5 people, family that have to have this kind of situation. So this is something that all of us should sit back and make sure we are also dotting our I's and crossing our T's. Thank you so much, Christiana.
You're welcome.
Soon. Okay.
You're welcome.
Bye.
If you don't mind, I was just going to throw in one more thing real quick.
Go ahead, please. No, go ahead.
For all of your listeners. So like Dr. Adesanya said, we have worked together for some time now, and I am her dedicated partner. So if there's anybody who is listening to this and is interested in talking to me, you all will get a complimentary HR screening. This will just give you a brief overview of, where is your business at? What does your back office look like? What does your process look like from the hiring to firing life cycle of an employee? And I can answer any questions you have regarding HR. And then if you guys decide to come on board for ADP, because just please state you are a client of Dr. Adesanya, and you will also receive a 20% discount automatically.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Wow. Thank you so much. Just say that you listen to this podcast. That's all you need to say. Wow. Thank you so much. Because remember, even the consultation, you pay for that, right?
Yeah.
Coming to do the from hiring to firing, you pay for that, right?
Yeah. So complimentary.
Wow.
I'll come into your business. We'll discuss what your back office looks like. Just do a complimentary HR screening and answer any questions you may have.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Wow, that's a good one. I really appreciate that. And it also helps small businesses, which is the goal of this platform, to make sure businesses don't only survive, but they thrive, right?
Right.
And to do that, we can't be found in court. To do that, we can't be sued. We don't want to be sued and found in court. We're supposed to do what we love, right? That's why we started our small business. So we don't want to be going back and forth, going to court, just to settle something that could have been settled out of court because of, not knowing, as I said. All right. Thank you, Christiana. Have a good one.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And thanks for all the discounts and everything else.
Of course, I will send you the collateral that I went over today, and
Awesome.
You feel free to share it with anyone who might have
I'll actually
questions.
have it uploaded so that anybody can download it. No problem.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're done for today. I hope this has really been very informative. This is really, to me, if you don't have a staff handbook, I think this is the time for you to step back and really go for it, because things are happening right now. So you don't want to be involved or have any situation that you will not be happy about, right? All right. So have a good one. Of course, we'll see you next time. And of course, again, I'm going to start my live podcast October 11th. All right. Bye. Thanks for having me. Remember to join my live podcast on Tuesdays, 6 to 6:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. Visit my website, driniadesanya.com, for details. Till next time, bye for now.